So my name is Linda Edelman. I'm an associate professor at Bentley University, which is a school right outside of Boston. I should tell you that the motivation for this research is to really do a finer grained analysis of some of the angel work that we've been doing now for 4 or 5 years. So I work with 2 other co-authors, and we have for, as I say, 4 or 5 years, we've looked at angel group, particularly from the perspective of the entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur making the presentation to an angel group as opposed to the angel investors themselves. And as we did this, we noticed, which was not particularly difficult to notice, that there weren't a lot of women angels in the audience, nor were there a lot of women presenting their own businesses. And we wanted to figure out what was going on, why we're not seeing more women. We know that there's a lot of women starting businesses. Why aren't we seeing more of those women going for early stage funding? Why aren't they trying to grow their business, or at least grow their business at the same rate that men are growing theirs? So that's really what interested us. I think it's really important that women get angel investing, or women go for early stage private equity investing. Women are obviously a huge part of the economy, a huge part of the entrepreneurial businesses that go on, but they tend to make different choices. They tend to choose businesses that perhaps are more home-based, or are not as growing as quickly, or as growth businesses as men do. And our idea, or our thoughts, was to really sort of investigate what's going on in this sector of the economy. Why aren't we seeing women? We want to see women succeed. We want to see women be able to do whatever they want to do. Why aren't they growing their businesses in such a way as to be as financially successful as men? And we know that women have different motivations for starting businesses. I can tell you that from other research that we've done, that wealth creation is always high on the list when you talk to men. Women, they talk about wealth creation, but they talk about being autonomous, and they talk about making a difference, and there's just these other things that matter to women that are a little bit different to men. We want to see those kind of businesses grow, and we want to see them be a bigger part of our economy. So that's really what motivates us to do this. We started looking at women a long time ago. So we, as I said, my 2 co-authors and I, we did a lot of work on nascent entrepreneurship in the mid-2000s, and there's a lot of publications with our name on it that use this PSED data, this panel study of entrepreneurial dynamics. And one of the things we were particularly interested, again, is women and women starting, and the motivations for women to start businesses. And from that, and I should say that one of my other co-authors is passionate about women entrepreneurship. She's just, yeah, I don't know. She's just passionate, I guess, is the best way to put it. And has really done pioneering work in this area from her dissertation onward. And so between her passion and then our interest in finding data that goes along with this, we became increasingly more interested in this special subsector. This particular co-author did a lot of work on women in venture capital outside of our co-author group with other people. And when she was sort of finished with that project, we said, well, why aren't we doing the same thing except looking at earlier investment? If our interest is these nascent entrepreneurs, these early entrepreneurs, the ones that are starting, that nascent thinking about starting, and then just starting out, maybe 0 to 2 or 0 to 3 years, so before the venture stage, why aren't we looking at that in terms of this financing? And so that's really where we started doing this. And we've looked at women-led teams, women-led businesses, where the woman is the CEO. We don't have quite the number of firms to look at because they're not quite as prevalent as men-led firms. And so some of the research that you've heard me present, that's to be honest with you, some of the problems with that research. I hate to tell you my research has problems, but it does. We've also looked at diversity in the top management team. I'll be looking at actually diversity in women in a couple of days. I'm going to make a presentation on that at a different venue. And there we find some really significant differences between women-led teams and or women teams that are diverse and have women on the top management team, and teams that are all men. And there we have a more robust findings, and typically they make better decisions, is what you see. More diverse ideas, more different thoughts, different perspectives coming into decision making, and at the end of the day, better decisions and more investment opportunities. That's what we found. We've had two different, actually, approaches. The one that we've so I should say the approach to our research. The one that we've mostly used is we've tended to be quantitative researchers. So we look at database research, and we have looked at, again, these nascent entrepreneurs. That was a big database. We actually went out to an angel investment group, and we spent 3 or 4 years collecting information from them and coding it. And of course, some of the things we coded was what the top management team looks like. Are there women on the team? Are women running the business? But we've also supplemented that with a series of interviews, and that was particularly interesting. One of the big findings is that when women go out and apply for early stage financing, when you get them to the table, let's say, they get the money at about the same rate as men. And we thought that was interesting, but it doesn't seem to tell the whole story, because we know that we're not seeing as many women ask for financing. So what's before the presentation? What goes on? What finally will motivate women to go and ask for this early stage money? And so we went and we talked to women and men, because we think to understand women entrepreneurship, you need to understand what men are doing as well. Otherwise we don't think you understand it at all. And we looked at all different stages of businesses, and we said, simply, why? Why haven't you applied for money? Why haven't you gone beyond friends and family? Why haven't you try to take a bank loan out even? Because a lot of these women businesses haven't done anything, and they'll be fairly substantial small businesses with fairly, critical mass of employees, and yet they're still funding themselves only on growth. And our findings were pretty interesting in that a lot of women just didn't feel like they had the skill set to go up and approach the world of finance. Even a bank, which I thought was interesting. We're adults, we've been banking for years, right? And yet these women didn't feel comfortable going in and talking to a loan officer. Oh, they wouldn't fund us. Oh, that's not my area of expertise. Oh, very, very, maybe naive, to be honest, because I don't think that. But as I say, in our research, we also had a couple of women that were quite savvy about looking for investment, and their comment was, we don't want to give up control. We look for equity financing as the last resort, because we don't want to get anyone else involved unless we absolutely have to. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman going up for this. It's your resume. That's what speaks loudest. The rest of it doesn't really matter. So that's sort of the way we've approached this research. We've used mixed methods. We've looked at data from the entrepreneurs, the people who are applying for money. That's one source of data. Then we had interviews with people as to why or why not they're applying for money, men and women. That's another source of data. A third source of data that we have not harvested particularly well yet is we have comments that were made by the entrepreneur, so that when they made their presentation to angel investors, we have sort of comments about what they said, both from the entrepreneur's perspective and from the angel investor's perspective. So we have the angel who thinks, the entrepreneur who thinks he or she did X or Y, and then we have the reaction to that by the angel investor, and boy, is there a big gap between what the person thinks the message is that they're conveying and the message that the investor hears. And what we haven't done yet with that data is, now that one we don't have quite as large a critical mass, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to cut that and see if women are better communicators in terms of this, or if men are. But that's something that I would like to very much do in the future, because I have a hunch that women actually might be better at this than guys, but I don't have any information to back that up right now. I have a little bit of advice to give, and this is a process, please understand. So I'd like to think as we do more of this work, we'll have more advice to give. But I think the advice I would give to women entrepreneurs, one is ask for money. Grow your businesses. Don't be afraid. Don't think that because your business is in a maybe traditionally female area, which last time I checked was 51% of the population, don't be afraid that you're not going to be able to get funded for that. I think another piece of advice would be look for women to fund other women. And there are some specific groups out there, women angels who want to fund women businesses. I think that I'd like to think that women would be just as successful in an audience of men as they are in an audience of women. I'm not so sure that that's the finding, and that I think that women maybe, at least as they learn how to ask for money and as they learn how to be entrepreneurs, I think that they may be a little more successful in front of a group of women investors. That would be perhaps another piece of advice. And maybe my third piece would be, don't wait so long. Don't wait so long. Our findings are that women are overly ready. By the time they go to ask for funding, the men beat them by 2 years in terms of stage of development of the company, and have or have not gotten funded. And the women hold back and hold back and hold back. And I don't think that benefits them at all. So go. In fact, I think the reason they have such equal amounts of funding is because women are so uber prepared that by the time they get up to do this, how could you not invest in this business? It has so many good things going for it. And I think that women should be a little more aggressive in their approach. The Babson conferences is absolutely one of my favorite conferences. First of all, I like the fact that it's young academics. We have so many people who are doctoral students or 1 or 2 years out presenting their cutting edge research. It's not like some of the other conferences where you go and you hear the same people presenting the same stuff that they've been working on over and over and over again. It's new people with new ideas. To me, that's really exciting. I like the fact that the research is it's not quite as vetted as some of the other conferences, and while that can pose some quality issues sometimes, to me it also means that the research is more exciting. And then it's such a nice community. This is such a nice community of people. When I come to this conference, I see new friends and old friends, because I always meet new people here, and they're always doing things that are interesting to me. And often the things that are presented here are then the papers that in 18 months or 2 years I'm actually using and building off of in my own work. So to me, this is just an incredibly valuable experience, and I'm always very, very happy to come. And of course, it's a local school. I get to support it too, so that's good.